Hello, everybody, and welcome to Series 2, the theme of which is How are NGOs growing online? As a guest today, we have Tomm Stewart. Tom, would you like to say a few words about your NGO and the whole process?
Sure, I'm happy to. We began our work as a humanitarian organization back in 2012 or 2013 because I had traveled to both Ecuador and Africa and had seen the very difficult, what we would call squalid conditions in which people lived. We noticed that healthcare system was rudimentary at best. And then also education was an issue. And so we thought perhaps we can do something about it. And our initial trip was back in 2014, where we brought a group of master's nursing students from the University of Washington, and then our team of medical support people. And we organized with a group in Togo, West Africa, which happens to be one of the poorest countries in Africa. And we visited, at that time, I believe it was 5 different villages, and set up clinics where people from the countryside would come in, and we would provide what we call primary care. And so that has been our goal since then, is to set up field clinics, work with the villagers, and provide primary care. And then in some instances, when there are issues that we cannot take care of, then we have referred them to surgery, and then our organization has paid for it. We also have established entrepreneurial opportunities where we've set up businesses, and we want the businesses to be sustainable so that the person that receives funding for a business can contribute to the local economy, can improve their own life, and develop skills and resources to better their lives and also the local economy.
That's lovely to hear. So did you have anything to do with giving back to society since the very childhood? Or was it something that came into you as you saw the poor healthcare facilities around?
Repeat that, please.
Did you have something to do with serving to humanity, giving back to society since the very childhood? Or did you just, develop something for it because you saw the healthcare facilities that were there in the poorer states?
We have been involved, or I should say I personally have been involved in other efforts to contribute to society in a positive way and to help those who are in need. Because for many of us, we have more than need by our wants. And for those that are truly in need, they have needs. And so we who have wants, that means that we have the ability to help those who have true needs. And so therefore, that's where we have put our efforts. If I may say, if God has been good enough to give me enough, then I should be helping others.
Absolutely. That's lovely to hear. So what really did influence you to start this?
I have always believed that those who have should care for those who do not have. We have a responsibility as members of society to care for each other. And I come from a medical family, and my father was a physician, and he did a great deal of volunteer work simply to help those who needed it. He was an eye surgeon, and he spent quite a bit of time volunteering. And so we've grown up that way, believing that it's important for us to help others.
That's lovely to hear. That's so good to, give back to society as a whole. It's so wholesome. It's so lovely.
Well, and really it's so important
Right.
because, as I mentioned, many of us simply have wants, but there are many in the world that have needs. And those of us that have should be willing to help those who have not.
Absolutely right. So, how do you manage the funds in your organization? How do you raise them and manage them?
Well, that's a good question because that really is one of the main issues.
Right. Yeah.
In our case, we have been able to acquire significant donations from hospitals, clinics, individuals, where they have medical supplies that they're not using anymore, or in some cases, for the use in the United States or the UK or Canada, in the developed world. They may be past their expiration date, but they're still good. So we have in total donated in terms of medical supplies, medications, including pharmaceuticals, something to the tune of $300,000 to $400,000 worth of medical supplies that we've acquired either through donations or we have purchased from organizations that make medical supplies available at very reasonable prices. For example, an organization called Operation Cure out of, I believe it's Denver, Colorado. They provide large boxes of medical supplies, and each box may have anywhere from $400 to $500 worth of medical supplies, yet they provide it to organizations like ours for maybe $50.
Oh, that's
And so
great.
it is great. So we basically, we live off donations. And I myself have donated significantly to our fund, and many others. Somebody may donate $10, someone may donate $1,000. It just depends. But we
Absolutely.
do live off of donations.
That's
And
great.
our workers are all volunteers. And so if we have a nurse or a doctor that joins our team, they understand they buy their own ticket, they pay a reasonable ground fee for food, lodging, and transportation. And they do it because they feel a humanitarian calling to help. They want to be part of that.
That's so lovely to hear.
Contribution. Yeah.
That's lovely. So, coming back to the theme of the podcast today, how is your organization going and growing online?
Well, we of course do have a website. We do have an Instagram, and so there's opportunities for individuals or groups to see that and to make donations, or at least to know what we do. And so we have received some donations in that way. And then I personally don't mind asking people. I'm not asking for myself. And so it's not a selfish motive, but rather it is a humanitarian motive. And so I don't mind asking people, are you willing to donate? And we have done certain presentations. We have had some local football players provide jerseys, balls, and we have had evenings where there's been an auction. And as you may know, American football, not what we call soccer, which you're familiar with, but American football is very popular. And we had a very popular football player locally sign a number of jerseys that we auctioned off. And really, people are willing to pay big money, not just because they like the team, which they do, or the player, which they do, but because they want to contribute to the cause.
Oh, that's great. So has it all happened because it was online, your platform, your organization was online on a platform?
Mm-hmm.
That's great. And what would you say sets you apart from other organizations when it comes to, growing online?
We have had the best success in person-to-person contact.
Okay.
The online thing is nice because it creates a broader opportunity for awareness. But really, we have mostly had to rely on person-to-person contact, seminars, simply asking people. There's so many things online that
Right.
it's really in many ways it's kind of a needle in a haystack kind of search. But there are opportunities for people to see that we do work in Africa. We're going to do work in Ecuador. And so they can find that, and some have, but quite frankly, most of it has been by word of mouth or face-to-face contact.
So did the COVID situation hamper the process anyway?
Did
Did the corona
what?
situation, the pandemic?
Oh, yes. We have not done anything since the pandemic has started, simply because travel is limited. And with our group, our our operation works in such a way that we travel to one of these needy countries and we set up field clinics and education programs and entrepreneurial training. So we actually have to be on site to make this work. And so we have not been able to do anything but collect funds. And we do have a bit of what we would call a war chest. That means we have some money for our next operations. But until the issues related to the pandemic are under control, then our travel is limited. However, our group would be in a position, given the resources and given the permission, to travel to countries like Togo or Ghana or Ecuador and provide vaccinations. But of course, we need government approval, we need the resources, but it's something that we certainly could do.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you, however, not have a team you could deploy to the countries there, to the states, or those who are present already there to help with the situation for them?
Repeat the first part of that, please.
Do you not have any volunteer team present in those cities and states who could help with your project?
TEAM?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Your English is great, but we both have accents.
Accents, yeah, I figured.
Our team is made up of volunteers. We do have a board. And then we simply ask people that we know who may be interested, or we do put it on our website. If someone is interested, they can contact our administrator, and we have been able to connect with some teammates in that way. But again, usually it's by word of mouth.
No,
and there really is nothing like person-to-person contact.
Of course,
and
yeah.
establishing kind of a relationship. For example, I was in a gym in Canada on Vancouver Island. I was working out and I heard someone talking with the guy that was at the counter. And I knew they were talking about something medical. And so once that conversation concluded, I went up to the woman who was talking and I asked her if she was a nurse, and she said yes. And I said, do you have any interest in doing any volunteer nursing work in Africa? And so the conversation started. And as it turned out, she joined our team and went on one of the missions. And that was how it all came about.
That's lovely. So last question I had was, how is the overall mutual feeling you have while doing the work you're doing?
Well, when you travel to a third world country or an underdeveloped country, and you see the way that the people live, and it's so very, very different from the way that we live. And we're so very fortunate and so very blessed to live in a country where there's plenty. It's like the land of milk and honey. But when one sees the difficult conditions in which other people live, you cannot come back the same person. So the first time I came home from a trip to a third world, I thought, oh my gosh, there's something we have to do to help these people. We have plenty, they have next to nothing. What can we do? And so we formed this organization, and we've been able to provide primary care, education, entrepreneurial training, and we've been able to support a number of businesses. And in Africa, our goal has actually been to support women in developing businesses. We've actually found that they make the best prospects for whatever reason. And also, many of them do not have resources, and there really isn't a social system to support them if they're not married or they lose a husband, but they've been very diligent workers. And so I really believe that it's so important for women and girls to have an equitable situation with men. And in many countries, that isn't the case. And of course, it disturbs me, being the father of 6 daughters. I believe that women should have every opportunity that a man should have in any country. There should be no limitations on girls' education, on girls' opportunity for business, on girls' opportunity to improve their lives. So we do focus on girls and women in terms of providing opportunity for them to better their lives.
Absolutely. That's so great to hear. So thank you so much for a wonderful session. It was indeed lovely having you here and listening to you, while you, of course, did dedicate your time to us. Thank you so much, and I'm honored to have you today.
Well, it's been a great pleasure for me. And you do have our website, yes, I believe. And there's quite a bit of information there, as well as a couple of videos. And I hope that you and your followers will have a chance to look at that. And should anyone in your group be interested in joining any of our missions, medical, educational, or entrepreneurial training, and we also do take several interns. We've taken a couple of high school students. And so if there's anyone that's interested, all they need to do is contact us through the website, and we would be happy to communicate with them.
Absolutely, and certainly.
I think what you do is magnificent.
Thank you.
Especially at your age, to be involved in this kind of work is remarkable. So many, many blessings to you.
Thank you so much.
Continued success.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Bye.